And so um, we do want to kick that around, and I see our special guest is on with us, and we'll give him a few moments to get set up there. My brother, my friend, my big brother in the ministry, pastor of the Foothill Missionary Baptist Church, Pastor Anthony Perkins. He's on with us tonight. Perk, good to see you, man. You can unmute yourself and just let us know your audio is working. How you doing, Perk?
Glad to be here. Can y'all hear me? Yeah.
Yes,
Oh,
I can
yeah,
hear you.
we can hear you well, very well. Thank you.
Been a long time since I've done this. Time for
Hey,
me
well,
to
it's good, man.
He
retire.
was one of our former guests.
Yeah, had me
We had him
call.
on the 7 days to live.
Did we
Yeah,
have
he
Perk was on 7 Days to
came.
Live?
He did, yes, he did
I
7 days
did.
to live. It
I
was
did.
really
You
very
did?
powerful,
Oh,
very powerful. You go back and look at that on YouTube. I got hundreds of views of that, I think. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm a definitely have to go back and check that out.
it
And the
was a
good
great
news is,
time. It was.
huh?
It was.
Yeah, I definitely go back and look at that,
My
and
dog.
now being that 7 days to live, but Perk, you've got some new life in you, and we'll give you a moment here to mention that and how
Yes.
your future 7 days are going to be. I don't know how to rephrase that, but we thank God for life. Thank you for being on. Thank you for agreeing at last minute pinch hit for us and being on. And Pastor Perkins is pastor of the Foothill Missionary Baptist Church in Oakland, California, on Foothill Boulevard. I don't know if that's a boulevard or avenue. Boulevard. And so we're welcome him in, and he's knocking the rust off of being online and being on podcast mode. So we thank God for him. And you see his background there. It has Perk's Feeble Thoughts, if my memory serves me correctly. And so we thank God for him being on. And so again, I am I'm Reverend Christopher Wade, excuse me, and you're on
You
with
said it right.
Pastor Dwayne Fisher, and we have Pastor Anthony Perkins on tonight. And Perk, as I mentioned, we're just going to kick it around about give you a second to kind of get your thoughts together. I know you're coming in last minute, but we're going to talk about AI and how it's being used in our churches. Pastor Fisher, if you didn't know, is an author of a book called "In the Moment," and he
This
dedicates
this moment, this moment. Yeah.
excuse me, this moment. And he dedicates a whole entire chapter to AI. And it's a very, very good read so far. I think I'm on chapter 5 right now in that book. And so, very good read, but and also talk about maybe the temptation to use AI, not only in our sermon preparation, but maybe even in the total sermon. Yeah, you have done no preparation work and maybe want to use AI and just kind of get your thoughts on that and how you're using it, if you're going to use it, in just not only in your sermon prep, but maybe in your church some kind of way, and some of your thoughts, and just we'll just kind of kick it around that way. But Perk, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourselves to those of us? We are also streaming live on YouTube, so we have a lot of our viewers, and they're going to be able to go back and watch this. Perk, tell us what's been going on. Perk, how long have you been pastoring at Foothill?
I think it's been under a year. I don't know exact how many months. I think it's been about 10 months or so, somewhere around there. I'm actually currently, I haven't been to church in uh, 8 or 9 weeks. Last time I was at church was the last Sunday of March, if my memory serves me correct. Um, I don't even remember what I preached, but I know I was there. Yeah, we had 5 Sundays that month. And March 29th is the last Sunday that I was there. Good Friday, I got a call. I've been on dialysis for the past 6 years, um, dealing with that. And Good Friday, actually on April 2nd, Thursday night, I got a call that they had a kidney for me, and they actually did the surgery on April 3rd, Good Friday.
My
It
goodness.
was a Good Friday.
My
And
goodness.
after a major surgery like that, I was discharged April 7th. I believe that was that Tuesday.
My goodness.
I'm mistaken. Well, they didn't hold us long at all. I thought that we would have been there a little while, but um, everything was going well. And um, they went to, I've been in my mother's house in Sacramento since April 7th. She's been a great caretaker for me. I've been a great patient. Trying not to get on her nerves, but yeah, she's really just been all of that and then some. And April 9th, for 5 weeks straight, I had to go back to San Francisco for appointments every week. One time I had to be there at 8:30 in the morning. It took 3 hours to get from Sacramento to San Francisco, so it definitely was a challenge. But by God's grace, we're able to do it. We've been home since then. And just tell people that every time I go to sleep and wake up, I feel better. And that's exactly how it's been. This is the longest I've ever been out in my 32 years of preaching, away from church, away from preaching. And so it's definitely been a challenge, but I'm grateful just for what the Lord has chosen to do. And, my brother passed away 7 years ago at 52 from cancer, lung cancer, wasn't a smoker. And when we found out that there was nothing else they could do, he looked over to me and said, "Nobody else is going to preach over me but you. So you got to find a way to, preach it." And so the Lord led me to preach his funeral, and I talked about uh, a pastor that God celebrates. And my brother was pastoring at the time. He actually succeeded me from my first church. And I talked about in that message that God could trust my brother with cancer and know that he wouldn't turn his back on him.
My goodness.
Yeah. And
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Is that something?
I kind of looked at it the same way with my issue, just my thorn in the side. I tried not to complain, um, and I tried to remain faithful. And it's funny, when word got around that I had came out of recovery from the 5-hour surgery, that people were calling, and one pastor called me and said, "Man, I just got into an argument about you." I said, "Well, what do you mean?" He said, "I talking to a preacher and told him you got a kidney transplant." And he said, "You lying. Perk didn't look sick. Ain't nothing wrong with Perk." I said, "No, you tell him you heard it from the horse's mouth." But I say that to say that while I was going through this 6-year journey, the Lord would often say to me, "Don't miss the miracle. Don't miss the miracle. Don't miss the miracle." And I don't think I grasped what he was saying until the night before the surgery, when the doctor asked me, did I have any questions? And I pretty much said, "Yeah, how many of these do you do a year at this hospital?" And they said, "We do over 500 transplants a year." And when he said that, something hit me, like, like what they're doing, they have been trained to do. They're professionals at it, and they do it all the time. Their percentage rate of those that live long, or 90, in the 90s, something like that. And so when I kept hearing "Don't miss the miracle," I started thinking about how people kept saying, "You didn't look sick. You still preached. You still taught. You still did this." And when I started piecing it together, that's what the Lord was telling me, that the miracle is how I kept you in the midst of those 6 years where, you didn't look like you were sick. Although I did have some days where I definitely felt sick, days where I dialyzed and still had to preach. I remember I was in revival out of town, and Pastor picks me up and said, "How was your day?" I said, "Oh man, I'm a little tired. I went and dialyzed this morning." "You on dialysis? What? I didn't know that." But I would go every morning at 4 o'clock in the morning and be done at about 8, so I could still have the day to do whatever, I wanted to do.
Right.
So I'm just grateful to God. And I just made a promise to him that every time I got a platform that I would um, share the number 1-855-255 6373. That's the number for anybody that's interested in being a donor. I
Mm.
think it's important with the platform that I have to share it. I'm living because, unfortunately, a young man passed away, and because he was a donor, that's why I'm here today, and I'm grateful for it. And I think we as a people need to know that it's nothing wrong to be a donor, and that how awesome would it be to help somebody's life continue. Um, and I'm just grateful at this stage of my life. I tell you all the time, I'm not smart enough to get a kidney on Good Friday and return to my church to preach on my birthday. Like who plans that?
Right.
Yeah, yeah. How
That's
about that?
nobody but
Hey,
God.
Perk, give us that phone number again.
855 255 6373. My memory serves me correct.
I
Yeah,
believe Pastor Fisher is probably going to put that down in the chat for anyone
yeah,
who would
that,
like more information or like to be a donor.
yeah.
Or man, what was the hardest part about going through that up until this point? We know you're still not out of, we're still in the recovery process and everything. What was there a most fearful part, or was there anything that was the toughest part about going through this journey?
The first, when I first got diagnosed, I thought life was over, you
Mm.
know, and I had heard so many horror stories, your food will taste like metal and blah blah this and blah blah that, and just different myths that people were saying, and it really kind of just put me in a position. I always say that if I can trust God during the good times, I should be able to trust Him during the bad times, and I just use it as a moment to draw closer to Him, and if I was gonna get through it, He was gonna have to be the one to literally get me through it. The support system
Mm.
was very important. Those that are around mentally, there were days where I was just like, I'm tired. Lord, if you're going to take me, don't take me in the clinic. You know,
Mm.
let me be at home. Don't do it in front of my kids. Um, it's the mental part of it. Um, and if you can keep your mind right, and you got a good support system, um, you can, I was an athlete, played college ball on scholarship. And one of the things that I would experience would be bad cramps while I was awake and while I was asleep. And cramps would be so bad that your body immediately starts to fight the cramp, you know. But then once the cramp was over, you would be sore for another 2 days. And before the soreness was over, you had to start dialyzing again. And so, and there was a time where I really was embarrassed about what I was going through. That was another reason I really didn't share with people. Like I just felt I was embarrassed about it. A person that really helped me really come out of that was Pastor Andre Green.
Mm.
He he I didn't know he knew, but and I didn't know what he was going through, but it was the providence of God at a luncheon during the Richmond Citywide Revival. We had lunch where the old salute used to be over there on the water, and he sat across. It was like the Lord did it. He sat adjacent, to me, and we were talking, and he just kept saying, I know, and it's okay." And that was the first time ever that I like shared it
Mm.
amongst other people, was like open about it. And I felt relieved. I felt, like a burden was lifted. But it was him, that he was the one that helped me maneuver through that without even knowing what he was doing. I tell him all the time when I talk to him, like, I tell him, thank you for helping me. You might not know how you helped me, but, thank you for helping me. Because a lot of times, we go through things and we don't know why we go through. And, but we do know that there's always a reason. And we never know who we'll bump into. And I've already, from the time that I've got out the hospital, and I don't know, I'll say out of recovery, I've had no, at least 10 calls from people just saying, can you just share with me? And people I didn't know, people who were just sharing what Perk went through, and they just gave my number. I'm approachable. I'm that type of person.
Mhm.
And one pastor called me. I had no idea. I hadn't heard of him. He called me and he broke down crying. He was like, "You helped me," and so you know, um, if I can honestly say that if it was for me going through 6 years of this uncomfortableness to help somebody, it's not in vain. If the platform I have, as I preach every Sunday, preach across the country, if I can get one person to say I'll be a donor, it's not in vain, and that's the way that I look at it. When I was getting discharged, the the social worker said, "Do you have any questions for me?" And I was like, "Yeah, what's the 1-800 number?" She was like, "You already got a kidney." I was like, "You're right." But I said, "You would never know the platform that I have every Sunday. And I plan on, I, it wouldn't even bother me if people forgot my name and they just called me the kidney preacher. It's okay. Because I made a vow to the Lord that every time I get up to preach, that number is coming out of my mouth, and there's going to be some literature somewhere in that church about being a donor.
Mm.
And that's
Man, praise
what I'm
God, man.
committed to.
Yeah, yeah, praise the Lord, man.
Yeah.
What, and so fear, the fear of the original diagnosis, and then what have you learned about yourself, or what have you learned about God now at this point? Now that you've kind of come at the tail end here, and still, what have you learned about yourself, and what have you learned about God?
Man, I've learned so much um, about him. Um, I would say the scripture that says, "You draw nigh to me, I'll draw nigh unto you."
Mhm.
I would say that it's truth to it, because there were moments where I remember the first day I dialyzed in public at the clinic, like it was yesterday, and I
Mhm.
wept, cried, because I couldn't believe, And when you're an athlete, you think, I'll never go through stuff like this. And I was, you know, all league, all city, went to Pinot, point guard, star football player, the whole nine, offered scholarships, and so we still have this ego sometimes. Although
Mhm.
those years are way gone, we still think, you know, we're just never get old, and as we were talking earlier today, if I do anything now, anything that I do now, and it takes me 4 days to recover, that means I don't need to be doing it.
Right.
So if I play ball and it take me 3 days to recover, that means I need to retire. But
Look.
I would say that it's God is true to His word.
Okay.
Um, for me, it was a moment where I was grateful for keeping my word to my brother. Um,
Mhm.
I promised him that I would never fly or travel preaching sick. And the night that I was on my way, I was scheduled to do a revival in Sacramento, open a revival, get on a red eye, go to Ohio. From Ohio, go to Chicago, preach for my buddy Marvin Wiley. It was like a 5, 6 day trip of preaching. My ankles were swollen. I felt like I was always full and, kind of breathing real hard and stuff like that. And so I promised my brother years ago, about a year ago, I got sick in revival in Detroit. And he was like, don't ever do this again. Don't ever travel sick again. And so although he was gone, I'm glad I kept my word. I remember that night I was packed, ready to go, you know, um, preaching the next night, red eye flight, preach 2 nights, then go to Chicago and preach. And I remember I came in, I said, Mom, I need to go to the hospital. And so I figured, they'll just go in and they just go give me a water pill, ankles go down, you feel better. Lord bless you, see you later. And I always had this running thing where whenever I go into the hospital, I always say, I can't wait to leave. That was always because I can't stand the white coats and stuff. Can't wait to leave, can't wait to leave. And the doctor came in and said, oh, I don't have good news. I said, well, I can't wait to leave. He was like, you're not leaving tonight. And he said, your kidneys are shot and you need to start dialysis immediately. And he said, if you would have got on that plane and flew out, you would have came back in a body bag.
My
Mhm.
goodness.
So, and the old me, the younger me, would have been like, man, I'm still young. I can preach 4 times a day. I can shake this off. That type of mentality. But one thing I try to do is each year I get older, I try to get wiser. And I'm glad that I kept my word to my brother. And so, although he wasn't here physically, I was glad that I kept my word. And so that's how I found out, that and then I also think, I haven't shared this with a lot of people. I know half of it was my negligence, because that's why they call high blood pressure the silent killer. I was on high blood pressure pills and felt good one day and just stopped. And they tell you that's the worst thing you can ever do is stop without the doctors. And then I think the other side of it is I was grieving my brother dying.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I really do. I can't, pinpoint it and say that that's completely why my kidneys failed. But my brother was 8 years older than me, my first friend, my only sibling, and the way he left us so quick was like just speechless. And I believe that our bodies respond to things like that. Um,
Mhm.
um,
I think what you're saying, though, Perk, it opens up a much wider question.
mhm,
And what I just heard there was, how do we take ownership and like personal responsibility for our bad health decisions, our
mhm,
present health decisions, and our future decisions in regards to health. What we eat. You know, over there in Corinthians, there's two places in Corinthians where he tells us, not to. Paul was talking about the we are the temple of the Holy Spirit,
right.
and but the context is about fornication, right?
Hmm.
But the broader hermeneutical interpretation is it's more than just about fornication, but we are the temple of God, against all that stuff. You know,
Hmm.
how we eat, how we exercise. Exercise is appropriate. It's the temple of God, and it is all of those things. And you know, how do we? This broader question of you taking ownership for, and I took it as you're talking about the past,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
and the
yeah.
present. Yeah.
And not to cut you off, but
No, no, go ahead.
I the reason I found out I had high blood pressure was really interesting. Um, One, it was hereditary. It ran in my family. My mother had it. My father had it. But I used to work for Numi. I used to build cars in
Okay.
Fremont. And one day, unfortunately, the cars are on the carrier. I was coming from underneath a car, and like I used to put on the brake line, and the carrier hit me in my head. I got a concussion, and I went to they had an ER hospital actually at the plant,
Hmm.
and they said, your blood pressure's high. Like, I didn't know that, and why did I know it? Because I wasn't going doing yearly checkups.
What do you
And
remember? What the numbers were?
at that
Systolic,
time,
diastolic.
um, oh, I can tell you even now. Um, that those numbers when I first got diagnosed with it was like 180 over like 110.
Yeah, that's stroke. That's
Crazy like
stroke
that.
territory. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I have several stories how like I would go into dialysis, and one time they like thought they was gonna have to call 911 because it was like 195 or 130.
Wow.
Oh my goodness.
Like,
Wow.
yeah, and there's several stories where we talk about like I tell you this one. So, and God is so gracious. Let me
I'm
say
so
that.
glad you can laugh at it.
So gracious. Look,
You got
now
joy.
I
You got a
can
joy that lets you laugh at it now.
listen. Now I can because when I left my infusion today, it was 112 over 30 over 87. So praise the Lord.
Amen.
you
Yeah.
know, I thank him for that. But there was just one weekend I never forget. I'm a sound guy. I like quality sound. And so my sound at my church, just when I was pastor in San Francisco, wasn't what I wanted to be. So I had a friend that did sound. And so we drove from Pittsburgh to San Francisco. And from the time I got in my church, my nose started bleeding. We were from at my church from 9 till 5 o'clock. And my nose just kept bleeding. Choo, 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 choo. And I was like, oh, eventually it's gonna stop. Eventually it's gonna stop. Eventually it's gonna stop. So then we drive through traffic on a Friday back to Pittsburgh. Nose still bleeding.
Hmm.
Go to the soul food place. Me and Roy go eat. We tried to eat at a soul food place, but my nose was bleeding like water just coming down. And so I was like, man, Lord, can you please just like stop this? Because I got to preach Sunday morning, I got to preach Sunday afternoon, and I got to preach Sunday night. And I promise, if you just stop this nose from bleeding, I promise that I'll go to the hospital on Monday. So
Mama.
I go, end up, and I say, if my nose start bleeding one more time, take me to ER. It started bleeding. I get to ER. I'll never forget this. Get to ER. I walk in the ER, no help, under my own recognizance or whatever. And they said, "Why are you here?" I said, "My nose been bleeding all day, and I think something is wrong." And so, and what I tried to do, I tried to take a couple of my blood pressure pills that I hadn't been taking for the past 2, 3 months, right? So I can say I took a pill, right? And so she takes my
The paperwork
blood
work.
pressure at the ER, the nurse, and she says, So she calls her coworker over and says, look at this. takes it again. And then she says, so I'm always trying to be comical, right? She says, oh, I got to do this manual. I said, oh, you know my friend Manuel? You don't call Manuel. Don't call him. Don't tell him. Don't call Darnell Manuel and tell him. She said, no, I want to do it manually with the old school, pump it up, and listen to it. And then she did it, and those numbers were like 230 over 170. And they were
Oh,
like, how did you walk in here? How did you get in here?
yeah,
I said, I
that's,
walked. She's like, you don't have any. And so they interrogated me. You gotta be having chest pain. You gotta be whatever. And I was like, ma'am, I feel kind of. I said, I'm only concerned because my nose has been bleeding. So when I get to ER, my nose never bleeds. Never.
uh,
Not one time. And so they're getting ready to release me. And the doctor comes in and says, she looks at the chart and says, wait a minute. No, 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 no. Something ain't right. Is this your current uh blood pressure? She said, oh, then you ain't going nowhere. So she said, what we're gonna do is we're gonna give you the medicine through IV. And because I hadn't taken the medicine through peel, when the medicine got in my system, my body went into shock.
Mm.
oh man.
And I got rolled into intensive care. I called my brother and I said, don't call mama yet. Don't call her yet. Call my brother. And he came and he's not a emotional person, but he
Mm,
started crying. He
Mm.
says to me, we got to get you off this floor. He said, death is on the floor. I feel it. And I was like, man. And so sure enough, within the next hour, the guy in the next room dies. And so I'm like, man, we got to get off this floor. Get off this floor. And so they ended up moving me to another floor, but my body was still in so much shock. I was on a walker walking
mm,
just to go to the bathroom.
mm.
And they were like, if you keep this up, you go be on dialysis. And so to kind of say what you said, to come back on what you said, Fisher,
The ownership, yeah.
the ownership, it was my negligence of me not doing my part of what I should have did,
What,
and how I
but what
should
about
have.
all the people in our community that, in our church community that have this same, you know,
That's why the show is so important. Absolutely.
I mean, and just, coming to terms with it.
Yeah.
Very few people are able just to, where you are now and where you were, that how do you bring somebody? So you got a platform on Sunday, you're talking to people on Sunday, this is your platform, but how do you move them from where they are now? Somebody's sitting there with 210 over
Right,
140,
right, right. And I
right there
think
listening
that,
to you preach. They saying amen.
yeah. And I really think that we have to become intentional,
Mhm.
an intentional holistic church where instead of certain days or once out the month doing blood pressure screening, we have to find somebody in our church that they're a professional at it and they do it every Sunday. Just like I'm an advocate for defibrillators being in church. Every church needs a defibrillator. It doesn't need to be you wait until something happens. No, you need to have that in your church. And I think and we need to move from the platform of pulpit to a social hall or a intense discussion about taking care of ourselves and be honest about how, and I hate to go this way, how systemically things have been set up in our neighborhoods to make us eat certain things so that we do have high blood pressure.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Let me just tell you what my quick thought about that.
Yeah.
People who are won't take ownership get to project that on to somebody else. When they take that meal, then they displace ownership. you know, and
Mm-hmm.
there is a mature person out there who says, yes, it's this, it's me,
Yeah.
and it's that
Yeah.
systemic problem.
Yeah.
But there's another person that just it's off. It's like water off the duck's
Yeah.
back,
Yeah.
right over here. Yeah, if we had better food in our neighborhood,
Yeah.
and that's why. And they stand up there with some
With a six
fatback.
pack of donuts.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And say and a triple cheeseburger and a Diet Coke, right?
I agree with that. I agree with that preacher. Yeah, I agree with him.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, I think the I said it when we and Chris were talking earlier today. I said I think right now that there are a couple things that the church should intentionally be doing right now. One is we should be intentionally talking about holistic health. I believe that for every issue we have, there's something in the ground that God has a remedy for it. I think that we have to change our way of eating and things like that, and be devoted to it. I mean, it's like for a while, I was trying to start a preachers movement of preachers going to the gym, because the majority of us preachers don't do nothing to work out, you know. And then we eat 10 o'clock at night, full 5 course meals, and go to bed on it. You know, I mean, that's a whole nother day, another discussion for another day. But I think that we need to have some intentional conversation with professionals to not only give us the information, but then walk us through what we need to do to be preventive,
Mm-hmm.
um, from the holistic part of our health. And then the second part is with the things that have happened within our government with Supreme Court and the voting rights, that we need to have a day where we don't shout, but we come on a Saturday and we explain what is actually happening and talk about what we need to do
Mm-hmm.
to respond to it. Because if not, we'll keep shouting, and things are happening quickly, to us. And it'll be I think sometimes we had a mentality, what we don't know won't hurt us, but it's what we don't know is really causing us to be thrown back beyond Jim Crow. And
Well,
so,
I think that what you just said applies to our health. If I
mhm.
don't know, it won't hurt us. There's
Yeah,
some
yeah,
sinner
yeah, for sure,
saying the same thing
for
about
sure.
not receiving Christ.
Yeah,
If I don't listen to the preacher, I don't know about
yeah.
my, options of heaven or hell
And
or
then
things like that.
also, like where I am now,
Mm-hmm.
I had already started, like, mentally preparing myself that I won't be negligent in my eating like I was in the past.
Hmm.
I don't just want to do better. I am doing better.
Yeah.
That's the commitment
Like,
to myself.
what did you eat today? Let's just get let's like give help people understand what that looks
Um,
like.
what did I eat today?
Or yesterday.
Um,
Just so what does that look like? If you
well,
want to just
it's
give us an overview, just tell us, give us
so
what
so
does that
like
look?
there's certain things at this stage that I can't eat. Like I can't go to a restaurant and this is specifically what they told me. You can't go to a restaurant and have salad. I can't have salad because I don't wash the salad myself. That's what they told me. Stay away from salad.
Okay.
Stay away from pomegranates, grapefruit, because they interfere with your meds. Since I've been out, I've really been doing a lot of salmon, um, baked chicken, a lot of vegetables. But I was a type also that I would eat everything off my plate.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's how I was. If on my plate, I'm gonna eat it all.
Train that way.
But now I eat when I get till I get full, and when I get full, I stop. And I've noticed the 8 weeks that I've been down in my hole. Me and my mom was just talking about it last night, that my appetite is not what it used to be. And so, excuse me, we have to be very intentional about I eat a lot of applesauce. I eat a lot of fruit now,
Hmm.
Um, I've always
What's your
drank a lot of
favorite,
water. Mm.
Mark? What's your favorite food now that you eat now that you didn't eat maybe not before?
Um, Salmon and applesauce. I mean,
All
that's
right.
and the Crustables, the peanut butter and jelly.
Fighting the
I
kids
drink.
over.
Oh man, like I go through cranberry juice like it's water. Like that's
Mhm.
when I went for my infusion today. I had cranberry juice there, so it's like and you know I thought like, man, I'm doing all this eating and doing all this drinking. Man, I ain't been really doing too much, but I've been like doing like a lot of sleeping. Like, man, I know I'm probably weighing a whole bunch. But I went into surgery weighing 250, right? I came out weighing 229.
Oh yeah. Great. It's great.
When I got weighed today, I was 235, 234, somewhere around there. And so it's good to know that I'm maintaining. And
Hmm.
that my goal is to possibly get down to 225. And so doctor said, clear me so that I can start walking again, which is cool. And I'm one of those like self motivators. Like I don't need nobody to go to the gym with me. The hardest part is getting up to go,
Hmm.
pretty much. And I'll
Hmm.
go and put on some YouTube or some preaching, and before you know it, it's time to go. So but
Have you
it's
ever
just
have
hmm?
you tried golfing?
Coffee.
Yeah, golfing, golfing.
Oh,
Tiger
not
Woods.
yet, not yet, because my wound is still
Oh,
kind of sore. But that is my sport, though.
is
Once
it?
I gave up the laces on the court, I will hit the ball. Yes, I will. I want
Well,
to thank God
Pastor
for the.
Pastor Fisher is
Thank,
an avid golfer.
oh well, we have to definitely.
We'll have to get. I've
He
never been
does.
golfing.
You have you been golfing with Gilmore?
No, but I heard he's a player.
Yeah,
Are you
Gilmore's
talking
a
about
player,
happy?
man.
You
Yeah,
talking about happy? Yeah.
Michael Gilmore.
No,
Oh,
Michael Gilmore, New Providence.
Yeah, yeah. He about to retire.
I thought he did.
Yeah, he getting ready to.
Oh, I thought it
I
had
thought did he
happened.
did he do it already? I
I
know.
thought it happened. I thought it had already happened.
Oh, I know. Last time I talked to him, he said he was done. Yeah, because he was. Oh, it was Martin Luther King when I saw him. Because my mom just graduated, just got her doctorate from Biola.
Uh,
She was just he was helping her, um, uh, giving her language to say when she was defending her dissertation. So yeah, but yeah, man, I think man, I appreciate the time though. It's this is good. I think this is good. I wish my prayer is that that more people would tune into it. Um, you know, for our people, it's not about it's about seizing the moment of opportunities that come to us. I
uh,
always think about the four lepers who said we go die here, so we go die anyway. So we might as well go and raid the other place and get some food and die happy because one translation said we have nothing to lose. When I preach it, that's what I preach, nothing to lose. But one of the points that I bring out of that they seize the moment. They take advantage of the moment, and I think we miss the moment sometimes. And Warren Wordsby said in one book, it's easier to jump through a window when the window is in front of you than when the window has passed you by.
mm,
You know.
mm. That is so true, man.
Yeah.
What are you doing now going forward to implement some of these things that you talked about? Or is it to bring awareness, or are you going to implement some of these things in your own church?
Absolutely. My church is getting ready to become, I don't want to say the guinea pig, but they're about to be a part of it. I mean, that's just, my plan is to, to keep telling the story, to keep
Mhm.
telling the story, and to I've already had a contact with a guy from North Carolina that wants to hook up, who is an advocate for transplant. Those that have had transplants, those that are going through the process are waiting. We're supposed to connect within the near future. He's possibly getting ready to move out here, which is amazing. So I'm trying to get him to come be a member of Foothill already. You know,
Good move. Good move.
good move. So I mean, we're better together than we are apart. And I think that it's just about um, seizing this moment and sharing. Sometimes um, we'll go through things and we don't want to be transparent.
There we go. Uh-huh.
What happened? Oh, he found it.
Ah,
Yeah, we don't want to be transparent about what we're going through, but I think in these days that it's so important for us
yeah.
to take off the ego, especially as pastors, and that's another thing that I just we hear so many pastors. This pastor had a heart attack. That pastor had a heart attack. This pastor had a stroke. Um, I my heart goes out to that family, to the children, to everyone, because I mean, there's certain things that we could possibly have prevented if we just would have acted sooner. By God's grace, you
Mm.
know, I was a blessed one. Where,
Yep.
and there are several times, like I said, where I know I should have been gone. Like before my brother ever passed away, there are a couple times that I know I shouldn't have been here. But by God's grace, he kept me. And so um, because of that, I just feel compelled to keep telling the story, and in this instance, like one time when the Lord healed the man, and he said, "I want to go with you," and the Lord said, "No, you need to go home. You need to go tell everybody what happened. You don't need to stay with me." And it's one of those things that I don't need to be quiet. I
Pa-
need to
Pa-
share.
Pastor Perkins, I want to share something with you
Yeah,
from 4 years ago. Can you? I
four
hope you
years
can
ago, I was on
see.
dialysis.
So,
Absolutely.
or
can you hear this?
plural.
Yeah, I can.
Faces. Where you
For
want to be?
sure.
You want to be up? You want to be in the bed? You want to be? Who's the last face you want to see
TV on, you want it all.
before you pass
want the
away?
Oh, that's what the
Raiders or
question was.
49ers on, you want who you want to be in the house?
And I gotta have like 2 or 3 TVs on. I gotta have some ESPN on, YouTube with somebody preaching, and then one of my comedians,
Okay, all right.
and the domino game going on.
Okay, so you got a domino game going. So you want a lot of people around you.
No, I wouldn't say a lot of people, but the right people. Um,
Would you like to fall asleep or vanish?
um,
Like a rap show, you like to fall asleep.
Whatever would be less painful for my people, for my folks that are close. I wouldn't want them to see me suffer or anything like that. I would.
No suffering. No, we just the Lord just you just got 7 days to live.
Yeah, it'll probably just vanish. But mom's definitely is one. My kids for sure. Um, Thomas Augustus Harris III. I'm the only one that says that. I know you looking crazy.
Kobe.
Kobe. Anthony Braxton, Leroy. Um, that's my little brother.
Would y'all be holding hands in prayer? Or would you
I
be
want them
sitting?
touching me now. No, I don't. I don't. It all depends on. It just. I can. I don't. I don't know if I would want. I know for me that I've never been like when my brother was passing away. I couldn't hug nobody.
Hmm.
My mama tried to hug me. I'd be like, no, don't. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't.
Pastor Perkins, I want to.
Kobe.
I just got brother Chris. I got this question. Tell me, how do you respond to that? Who is that guy, and who is this guy? Who are these? They seem like two different people to me.
Well,
Chris, what do you think?
You,
Is it 4 years now? This is 4 years ago. Okay.
4 years.
excuse me
I
one
definitely
second.
hear a different tone. Definitely hear a different message. I know he had to step away. Perk had to step away for a moment, but I definitely hear two different people, as you said, Pastor Fisher. I hear two different messages, kind of, in there. One was about him, and that 4 years ago. This today seems more about other people, and that's what I gather that he wants to see somebody else, saved, and for communities to be changed, our community to be changed, the local assembly
Yeah.
to be saved. So that's the difference that I see.
Well, the other thing is that on that side of it, we were asking him, "What would you do if you had 7 days to live?" And then he's been in a situation. You know what I'm saying? Where he's, maybe the proxy wasn't 7 days, but whatever it was, he was in that situation. In fact, he's told us he's been in that situation numerous times, and so he's been in. He was in a 1 day to live situation. If he had walked back out after the bloody nose, and so he's been in that. And so when his level of awareness to me back then is different than. You know what I'm saying? This is the same sick guy 4 years ago.
Yeah.
This is that guy. He's sick 4 years ago. We're right in the middle of everything with this guy. And he's laughing and he's telling us all this. But this guy's sick. He may really have had 7 days to live. But one time he had 1 day to live or whatever that was. His blood pressure. I see a difference. I see an awareness in this guy that wasn't in that guy who was on dialysis.
Mm-hmm.
Would you address that?
The reason I took my hat off was because when you showed that, and a lot of people have said that since I've got the new kidney, I've gotten lighter. And I don't know if you saw it. I was darker on that clip that you showed than I am now. Which speaks of healthier in a lot of ways,
Yeah.
I took my hat off when I saw it. I was like, man, because I really hadn't seen it. I had a lot of people tell me like, you're getting lighter and your voice is different. And like, I remember I was preaching in Mount Calvary, and while I was preaching Mount Calvary for my pastor, it sounded like I was preaching underwater. But now my voice is more clear now. But to answer your question, I would say that I don't think I've ever taken life for granted, but I definitely value it a lot more. I think I'm more intentional with all that I do. I think I treasure and cherish the simple things. I was just thinking the other day, man, what would it have been like for my recovery if my mother wasn't here? Like, because there's no care like a mother's care,
Right.
And the love that is displayed from a mother to a child is just indescribable, And so those things cross my mind, and I would say April 3rd, just like we have a salvation birthday, it's like Anthony 2.0.
That's good. I see. I like that.
I say sola gratia, by God's grace alone. That's the only reason I'm here, and I don't take that for granted. And so every chance that I have to seize the moment. The sons of Issachar understood the times and they knew what to do, and I want to be found faithful to say I understood the times and I knew what to do, and I think that the awareness is such a powerful move because our black men need to be made aware of so many health things, and I think also the circle that we're in, whoever is in our circle, we need to be able to love each other enough to say, hey man, have you had your yearly checkup? You know what I'm saying? Have you been to the doctor? Just simple things like that. I mean, because it's like I say this all the time, and one of my bucket list things is to one day try to do be a stand up comedian,
You could do
stand up
that.
comedy, and I don't think I'm scared because I ain't never been booed besides playing ball, and I don't know how I react if you boo me in my face,
I got some joke. I got some jokes to send you though, because I think we preachers all have an opportunity to be
And so
up.
the reason I said that is because I told one of my boys one time, I said, man, if you ever let me get 400 pounds, you ain't my friend, bro. You don't love me. You gonna let me be 400 pounds? Come on, man. And you my dog? I mean, I would have hoped that one day you was put like, hey, Perk, man, you know what? We don't even need to eat this burger, bro. Let's go walk and have some water or something. And I use that as an example that if you really care about me and love me like you say you do, yes, it's ultimately my decision, but at least love me enough to say, hey man, I can't let you keep going down this road. You know,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that's the way but I think, I see two different people for sure. I'm glad you put that up, man. I still
Yeah.
see, because my thing was while I was going through, if you said anything, I want to say that he was still faithful and he still had joy,
Mm.
even though I had some days where soon as I finished, um, like 2 years ago, the year that my son graduated high school, I had a bad cough, and I just came from the clinic. I was driving on my way. I was working at this nonprofit in Sacramento during the time that I wasn't pastoring. I had to get a secular job, and I had a bad cough, and I was coughing, and the coughing was coming consecutively where I passed out behind the wheel.
Whoa.
And when I passed out behind the wheel, I was on a 2-lane highway. Passed out, clipped the car went over the embankment. And if I showed you the car today, you'll be like, it's no way. Now, the joke for that for me is, I know Fisher, like, this guy laughs at everything. I promise you I'm serious sometimes. But the joke for me was that I pass out. When I come to, I hear this horn, but I see nothing but white. And I'm like, Lord, don't let me be in heaven. My son graduating in a week. It was the airbags. I don't want to be in heaven.
Oh, it was the airbags.
But it was the airbags. And I was like, but I get out the car, I walk out, and the only thing, I think I had a headache. That was about it. And if I can find it, I'll show it to you. You would be, when I tell some people, they're like, there's no way you walked away from this. And I'd be like, no, I did. I walked away from this wreck on a 2-lane highway. And
My goodness. While you're looking for that, we might have some questions. I notice we have some folks on our Zoom question line that may want to ask questions. All right.
I see we have our president, Baptist Ministers
I
Conference,
thought I
Richmond and
saw
vicinity
Prez
on.
on there. President
Got
Reddick.
yeah, got our president, my pastor, and slash my president. Pastor Reddick is on. Pastor Reddick, we see you. If you'd like to come on and say a few words, speak to Perk, you can unmute yourself or turn your video on and unmute yourself. We'd love to hear from you. Um,
Hey,
and we're thank.
brothers.
Hey, Pastor.
Hey, God bless y'all, man. What an awesome presentation tonight. Thank you, Doc Perkins, man. You've been in our prayer. You know we love you
Yes, sir.
a whole lot, and we'll do whatever we can do in your behalf. That's a personal joke, you and me. But we thank God for you, Reverend Fisher, Reverend Wade. Marvelous work tonight, and we just thank God for His faithfulness.
Yeah.
And we thank God for his healing power. The same God of yesterday is the same God now, same God forever. And he will, and he still heals his people. So we just thank God for your testimony. The brothers already know that I'm going through some health challenges right now, and I've been encouraged by listening to the talk tonight. So thank you all so very, very much. We love you. Keep it up.
God bless you, Pastor. Thank you. And
Thank
and
you.
the Lord worked this out. This was nobody but the Lord that done this, and we thank God and thank God for Perkins being on. Perk, why don't you tell us why you're looking for that photo? Why don't you tell us what good news you got coming up here for first Sunday in June?
Yeah, I was trying to send y'all the flyer so you can flash it on
Oh, okay.
there.
I'll see if
I sent it
maybe I
to
could
your
see
phone.
Pastor Fisher
Oh,
to
you sent it
post
to the
it up
Fisher?
here.
Yeah, so as I said, I ain't this smart to get a kidney on Good Friday and then to return to the pulpit, not my pulpit, the Lord's pulpit, um on the first Sunday of June. I'll be returning back preaching at 11, and then because that's my birthday, um I decided that we'll celebrate. I'm a church boy, been in church all my life. So my good friend from Chicago, Marvin Wiley, is going to come and preach that evening at 6:30. And so there it is. The young adult choir from Gospel Music Worship of America is going to come and sing that night. I have another buddy who is a kidney survivor. He just got a kidney last year. His name is Dr. Dwayne Birdsong. He'll be there sharing about his kidney experience. I just sent you the picture, Wade.
I see.
And,
I'm about to
and,
forward it to Fisher right now.
um, and then I'm going to have, if you will, someone from the donor National Donor Society there to speak on the importance of being a donor. So um, I'm really using it as a platform,
Yeah.
to bring awareness that day, that night, to all those that'll be in the building, and if you really, my thing is, if you really want to be a blessing to me, and you really want to encourage me, there's a card. There it is. That's what I walked away from. That right there. No scratches, no nothing. Just boom. Yeah, and that total. You see the front wheel is, yeah. That's that's God's favor and God's grace. Again, you know. Um, yeah, so we'll be celebrating that night at 6:30, and Marvin Wiley is a very good close friend of mine. We we talked several times during the week. He's actually en route to New York to preach on Sunday. That's how much we talk. We always tell each other where we going, and let me know when you land. And I met him. I've been driving preachers for over 25 years. That's how we met. Was driving him for 6 days, and we just hit it off. So, if you're not doing nothing, President Reddick and the brothers, come on through Sunday night, 6:30. Would love to see y'all there. And some other great things will be happening. So she's in another room, so I can't. But I'm gonna celebrate my mom too that night, so she don't know it. Yeah, so I'm so proud of her. So but yeah, I would love to see. And I know, everybody can't make it to the 11 o'clock service, and it's really my way of saying thank you to the Bay, the community, because everyone has really been so encouraging. I mean, I got phone calls from people that I didn't even know liked me.
That's always a shock.
And and so I'm just grateful, and it's just really a way of us. I figured, what way to celebrate my birthday than to tell Lord thank you for His faithfulness. And I mean, there's so many miracles all around. I've known people that was pastors that's been sick, and their church voted them out while they were sick. Gone for a matter of weeks, but by God's grace, He's used this to bring people and pastor together. So I mean, there's just so many things that the Lord is doing at this time, and I'm grateful about it. And I just want to celebrate it with the Bay and those that have always been, pastors like Pastor Reddick have always been supportive, and I'm grateful for it. So
Be really interesting to see. So we've got this 4-year slice of your life 4 years ago, and then 4 years from now we have this new slice.
Right.
Curious. We've got to book him again. We want to see who he is
4 years from now.
4 years from now, if the
Well,
Lord should tarry.
I hope 4 years from now that I had them blue bars. While I was off, while I've been off, my mother just received her earned bars, if you will, from Biola University, and the testimony of what she did, of how I'll share real quickly. When my brother passed away, it shocked us in a strong way. And so, again, my brother succeeded me at Tabernacle of Faith in San Francisco. I was pastor in Harmony in Oakland. And so I remember my mom coming to me, and my dad passed away 25 years ago. And so now it's just me and moms. And so moms comes to me and she's kind of hesitant. She says, well, I want to know if you'll come with me to this grief sharing. And so I was like, yeah, mom, I'll come. I said, I know I need help because this death was a lot harder than my dad's. They're always different in their own ways, like even I had in my first marriage, my son passed away. A lot of people don't know that. I had a son that passed away July 9th, 1999. And so, rather July 9th, 1997, I'm sorry. And so this death kind of hit different. And so I agreed to go with her and I went with her, but I got mad when I went. I was like ticked off because I was like, man, I pastor a church. Like, why I ain't got grief sharing in my church? And like one thing we know for sure, unfortunately, that in every church we're going to experience death. Somebody's going to die, at least, one person is going to pass away. So why don't we have something in the church, in the Black church, to support grieving, And so, we pray, we both pray, but we pray without talking to each other. It's crazy. And so then somebody, I've been thinking about something. She said, I've been thinking about something too. I said, I've been thinking about doing something on grief. She said, me too. And so what we did, we came together and and my godfather, I got to give a shout out to him, Dr. Nathan Johnson, pastor Tabernacle Church in Detroit, Michigan. He had a grieving ministry, and he sent us a step-by-step 4-book series to help you deal with your grieving. I mean, and it was on point. I mean, just on point. I wish I had the books now, but my mom has them. But so we took that, made that a part of the curriculum. And so that first grief sharing, we call it from hurt to healing. That's what we call it, from hurting to healing. and in memory of my brother and her son. And we had 25 people come from as far as Sacramento, San Francisco, and San Jose that showed up one evening at 4 o'clock before my night service at Harmony. We went from 4 to 5:45. And it was so amazing to see that people were hungry to know how to deal with grieving. And what we teach is grieving is not just death, it's the loss of anything that you have been connected to, period. So some people are grieving when they took the Cosby Show off because they watched it every Thursday. You know what I'm saying? It's little simple things like that. Grieving empty nest syndrome, grieving retiring from a job. I'm even going through a process of grieving from not going to the dialysis clinic anymore because those people were my family 3 days a week for 12 hours a week, you know? And so I'm dealing with that, if you will. That, and so um and thankfully she she did her dissertation on my brother. Amazing. Grieving within a Black African American church. And that's what she did it on. By God's grace, she defended her dissertation. She walked the stage a couple of weeks ago at Biola University in La Mirada, California. And she'll be, matter of fact, she'll be teaching at the California State Baptist Convention that will be meeting at St. Paul Church in Sacramento in July. She's one of the clinicians for that week. And so, and by God's grace, we've taught for districts, churches, state conventions. So funny, we got a call to do a seminar for a church, hurting to healing, that's what we call it. And we told the pastor, it's so funny. Here I go, Fisher. We told the pastor, don't say grieving, man. Just say hurting to healing. And he didn't listen to us. He kept talking about grieving. So the first night, and we was at St. Rest Church in Fresno, a good friend of mine, DJ Crowner, doing a great work out there. So he said, we're going to have a grieving conference seminar.
Oh my goodness.
That first night, right, like 20 people showed up. And we had such a good time that the next night we had like 60 people.
Okay.
And then that's what we started sharing with pastors. Don't say nothing about grieving. Just say if you've had any type of loss and you want to get from hurting to healing, share that. And we noticed once we changed the genre that more people have been receptive to coming. But when they hear that G word, they beelining the other way. They're not gonna fool with you. And so, but I think our goal was to share the template so that those that may come from different churches with their pastor's consent to go over the curriculum and implement this in your church. Because see, we think when it comes to grieving, oh, Sister Johnson's husband died. Y'all take some spaghetti and chicken and potato salad, and that's it. But it's far greater than that.
Yeah.
What do you do after you say from ashes to ashes and dust to dust? How do you deal with the first birthdays? How do you deal with first Mother's Days, first Father's Day? How do you deal with that? How do you deal when you don't want to sleep at night, but you only will sleep during the daytime? And those are the things that we deal with literally how you continue to move. And by God's grace, she's been doing a great job getting awesome opportunities to teach. And it was because literally, here it is, from the death of my brother was birth this ministry.
Yeah.
That's pretty much.
Your mom has been, you and your mom, definitely on our guest list in that regard. And the Lord just fixed it for you to be on tonight. And, so you can, let mom know, expect to hear from the Baptist Ministers Conference Richmond and vicinity to be a guest on this show on this platform. Maybe you
Sure,
both can
sure.
come together, and
Yeah.
we would definitely love to hear because so many people have, as you say, and thank you for that. Thank you for because I'm one that would use the word grief,
Hmm.
and thank you for that because I think hurting to healing does sound a lot better.
Hmm.
And then it could fall. Grief still falls under that umbrella. But thank you for that. That is
And
definitely
just to share this,
Mhm.
I don't mean no harm when I say this, but have you ever thought about when a church loses a pastor, why the members act a certain way?
We'll define that certain way. Some
Rebellious,
that's
rebellious to um, maybe new formats, um, rebellious to anyone that doesn't look like the pastor, um, bucking heads against each other, things like that. And what
oh
we've
yeah,
discovered is that the church body is grieving and don't know it because they never had an opportunity to at least just express how they feel, what they're feeling. And to some, like say for instance, um, the late Reverend Dr. Green. I remember him because he fellowship with Arnie Hightower. I come out of Pleasant Grove, you know, and for some people that was their pastor for decades. Married them, baptized them, buried them,
yeah,
the whole
yeah.
nine. And so for him to not be here anymore, how do I deal with that? And then we're not going to even talk about COVID, how you had mothers of your churches that had never missed church in over 20 years, decades, and then all of a sudden they can't come. How do they deal with that? You know, and those are the things that we try to just bring up to surface and then help you deal with it, get through it, and so,
Yeah,
um,
yeah, and
and
then
if
to speak about
if anybody knows anybody that does a great website, my mother is looking for some money that can do that. Just put that shout out. You can help,
absolutely,
please.
man, put it
Let
out
me
there,
know.
man.
Ellington. If she's going for something high quality like the easy to get to church, then it's
Uh-huh.
Ellington.
Can you
El-
text it to me? The information.
yeah,
Yeah. Okay. Great. Great. Great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Perk, and to comment even on Pastor Green, he was wise enough, and God gave him the wisdom to step down
Right.
before that happened,
Right.
and he had a successor in place, and I've never experienced that, and I pray to God I never have to go through
Yeah.
that and those horror stories
Yeah.
about that, but certainly, man, man, you all as pastors are so important to us people of the congregation. And I tell people all the time, my pastor and when my dad was living, my pastor and my father were the one and two emergency contacts on my list.
Right.
If
Right.
something
Right.
were to happen, my wife
Right.
knew you call my dad and you call my pastor. And it doesn't have to be in a particular order
Right. Right. Right.
because
Right.
one of
Right.
them was
Right.
going to
Right.
call the other. So
Yeah.
you all are very, very important as leaders in the church and in the community. That oftentimes you are at the top of someone's emergency call list,
Right. Right.
contact list. Man, somebody get a hold
Right.
of my pastor. Something
Right.
happens
Right.
to my
Right. Right.
wife
Right.
or
For
one of
sure.
my children.
For
Man,
sure.
call my pastor. When
Sure.
my father passed away, first person I went to, Pastor, where are you? I
Yeah.
jetted
Right. Right.
straight
Right.
to the church
Right.
because that's where to help deal with the hurt and whatever it was that you're feeling.
Right.
So,
Can I be excused
yeah,
for a
man,
second? The kidney is
I,
working.
huh? What'd you say? What'd you say,
I said
Perk?
the kidney is working. Can I be excused for 1 second?
Yeah,
well, we gotta we've had a great time here,
we
and
sure have.
I've got a hard stop coming in a few minutes.
Okay.
So thank goodness is
Okay. It is. Pastor Fisher is 8:25, and I appreciate you being on, and I'm glad you made it home safely.
thank you.
Glad your wedding went fine. I'm glad she's married, and thank God for her being married and starting this new journey in her life. And so I thank God for Perk. I know he had to step away. As he said, his kidneys are starting to work. And so we thank God for that. Thank God for you, those of you that are still on with us. Thank you for streaming in. I am Christopher Wade. We have Pastor Dwayne Fisher and Pastor Anthony Perkins of the Foothill Missionary Baptist Church as our guests tonight. And we didn't talk or even get to AI, but thank God for having his way and him sharing his testimony and where he is now going through his kidney transplant. And also, we want to encourage you to check out the Easy to Get to Church. And it is the website where 24/7 you can find words of encouragement by the sermon of the week and the song of the week. There are blogs there. There soon to become. You can find this episode of Friday Night Talks there on the events page there. And so you can leave prayer requests and someone will get back to you. And so we just want to invite you to check out the Easy to Get to Church website and Perk. We want to, if there's anything, as our President Reddick has already stated,
Final words.
If we can collab with you in some kind of way, we would love to do that. And I look forward to me and you getting together and hooking up and linking up. And don't be afraid to get light skinned, man. Don't be afraid to be light skinned like me and Pastor Fisher, man. Don't be afraid. Come on, man.
Is it back in?
We coming back in, man. So we ain't gonna hold you, bro.
Hey, funny story. He just bounced off, but he almost was my pastor, man.
Really?
Dwayne Fisher.
What? Really?
He almost got Pleasant Grove some years ago. 30 years ago. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, man. Hey, man, it's a small world, bro.
Yeah, it is.
It's a small world, man. Hey, well, Perk, man, I love you, bro. You know
Love you
that,
too, bro.
man. I'm thankful for our conversations. Looking forward to the things we got coming up, and
For sure.
man, thank you for your grace and thinking about me in the Cutting It Straight preaching
Sure.
expository preaching class. It's been a blessing, growing already, and man, thank God for you, bro.
Yeah.
And we got to do this again, man.
Oh, it's fun, man. It was fun.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Get you back in the saddle, man. Get you back in the saddle.
All right, man.
All right, bro. I love you, man. I'll tap in